Thanks, Carol. I've been asked to record the introduction today, so forgive me as I run back and forth here on the technology. But first, I'd like to just say it's great to be here. I know you guys have just started having chapter programs again in the last few months, but I think it's been a few years since I've been to a program, so it's nice to see all the familiar faces I haven't seen for quite a while, and also see a lot of new faces that I have not seen at programs before. But for those of you who are new, welcome to the chapter, and I hope this won't be your last time. A little bit about me, kind of set up the video a bit. In my youth, I kind of grew up in the old German-Russian neighborhood over in northeast Portland, formerly the Albina area. And we later sort of moved out to East County. But I kind of grew up not knowing really much about my ancestry, to be honest with you. I knew we were German because my parents spoke German, my grandparents spoke German, we ate German food. As a kid, I was kind of puzzled about the Russian part, to be honest. It's like, what were they doing? What are these Germans doing in Russia? It never made any sense to me. I thought my parents were kind of confused that maybe they were from Prussia and they just got a little bit mixed up or something. But why in the world would these Germans be, what were they doing in Russia? So, you know, I was a teenager at the time, and I think my mom was an early member of the Oregon Chapter of AHSGR back in the 1970s. She tried to get me, my older brother, and my older sister interested. You know, when you're in high school, yeah, it's probably not gonna happen, so I never really kind of got those questions answered when my mom was still around, unfortunately. My interest really started when my mom passed away. My dad had a box of material that my mom had collected over time. She was trying to research her family as well as my dad's family. I have kind of Volga German ancestry on both sides, so it's my entire family history. So Dad brought over the box, plopped it down, said, you know, take a look at this stuff. If it's interesting, you know, keep it. If you don't want it, you know, throw it out. So I started looking through it, and I started kind of getting answers to some of the questions that had been floating around in my head for a long time, including how I was related to this huge group of people. It seemed like when I was a kid, I was related to everybody. I mean, my mom was one of, 13 kids, and they all had kids, and everybody in our neighborhood up and down the street was an uncle or an aunt or a cousin. And I didn't know if it was real or it was just kind of like more of a ceremonial thing where you'd say, hey, that's Uncle Bob. And I started kind of just doing some basic genealogy of figuring out how I was connected to all of these people. In some cases, first cousins, you know, who were like, they were much older than me, so I didn't really look at them as being a first cousin, but lo and behold, we were. And make a long story short, I guess I got hooked, as they say, on genealogy and family history. I like the genealogy part of it. I still spend a fair amount of time doing that, but I also wanted to kind of understand the bigger, broader story of who were these people? Why did they go from Germany to Russia? Why did they leave Russia to come here? So I went, you know, to the Oregon Historical Society. I went to the Multnomah County Library and found approximately this much information about German Russians. There was almost nothing. So I decided, you know, at that time, kind of the internet was sort of blossoming. I decided to start a website, called Volga Germans in Portland, and I just started collecting information and putting it on this website. People started sending me pictures, stories, all kinds of stuff. I maybe had, 5, 6, 7, 10 pages at that time. And now, 20 some years later, I think it's up to around 650 pages of information. So, and back in 2003, there was an AHSGR national convention in Yakima. I was asked to do a presentation on the German-Russian settlement here in Portland. And I decided, instead of me just getting up and kind of droning on for 60 minutes, it would be more interesting if I did some type of a video, with pictures and things that would be a bit more interesting than just me standing at a lectern talking for an hour. So, do most of you, have you seen like the Ken Burns films? You've probably seen those. Well, I think Ken Burns is, he's my hero. I love his documentaries. So I tried to do this kind of Ken Burns-esque video. So don't laugh too much. I tried, but Ken Burns would laugh if he saw it. But anyway, I did it back in 2003. Somebody, I don't know if Bob Thorne is here, somebody actually got it on cable TV. So it played on cable TV here for a number of years. I went to work one day and one of my colleagues said, I was flipping through channels last night and I heard this guy who sounded like you. He was talking about Germans and Russians, and he said, was that you? And I said, yeah, that was me. I said, what were you watching? Anyway, I found out it played on cable TV for a while. You can also get it at the Multnomah County Library. There's some copies, I think, back here, Carol, if people want to buy a DVD copy of it. But without further ado, I think I'll just cue it up and let it roll. Apologies, some of you have probably seen this before, so if you have, feel free to take a short nap. And after the video, I'm happy to take questions that you might have about the video or anything else. So with that, I'm going to turn off my video camera here.